There really is no word that explains where I came from and where I am today, because it's amazing where I've come, where I've gotten. Never thought I would be where I am, owning my own house, having a full-time job, raising my 3 kids by myself. And there's no way it would have happened without WIC and energy assistance, and especially Head Start. I'm Katie. I am 33 years old. I was born and raised in Buffalo. I learned about WCCA when my oldest daughter was 3. Her name is Jaden. She is 12 years old now. She is a spunky little sassy child. Keeps me on my toes. Being a single mom of Jaden was difficult. I had her when I was 20. There was no financial support. There was no time off. When Jaden was in Head Start, I was not working because when her dad and I got back together, I was not allowed to work. I wasn't allowed to do anything. He controlled who I talked to, who I didn't talk to. I wasn't allowed to have friends. Wasn't allowed to have my parents around. He was physically abusive, mentally abusive, sexually abusive. You name it, that was my life. I got pregnant with my middle one, Zafina. The cops were at my house literally every other day. When you're in it, you don't realize how bad it is. It just becomes normal. I didn't realize how bad it really was until after I was completely out of it. When I was pregnant with Kylie, my youngest, I was having weird blackout spells. She was born at full term, but she was born really little. She was born at 5 pounds, 10 ounces. Wasn't able to keep anything down. So I brought her down to Children's. That time we were in the hospital for 10 days, and she came home on a NG tube, which is the tube in her nose. We ended up back in Children's, and she had a Mickey tube placed in her stomach. She was very sick for a long time. It was the better part of 2 years. Erica came around when Kylie was about a year and a half, kind of in the middle of all of her medical stuff.
So my name is Erica Milkey. I have worked with Wright County Community Action for 11 years now. You do what you do because you love it. Like, I love my job. I love the Early Head Start program. I firmly believe in it. I have an amazing team that has amazing families that they go to each and every day.
Before Kylie was put on her feeding tube, we got milk and fruit and cereal and protein from WIC. And it was really nice because otherwise I'm not really a fruits or vegetable kind of person. WIC promoted healthier eating. Then when Kylie was born and all her issues started, WIC was a huge help. Kylie was put on special formula because her body couldn't break down formula. So she was put on EleCare, which is $50 a can. And with her feeding regimen, we were going through a can every 2 days. That's a lot of money.
I think I realized that Katie needed the Early Head Start program the most when Kylie was bouncing in and out of the hospital. Just having somebody she could call and talk to.
When Kylie was admitted to the hospital, my middle one, Zafina, was in Head Start. The teachers were really supportive of her, knowing that there really wasn't, per se, stability at home. Extra hugs and making sure she didn't need anything and reaching out to us.
There are families who have nobody. You know, they might not have neighbors or family or friends. And so just being that support person to show them that, you know, somebody's there walking her through the steps and walking with her, not doing it for her, but just providing her the information on how to do those things.
She would come to the house once a week for an hour and a half. Erica was there to see Kylie, yes, but it wasn't just about Kylie. Erica made sure everybody in the family had what we needed.
The Early Head Start program and the Head Start program, our belief system is that the parent is the child's first and foremost teacher, most important teacher. They're the ones that are there all the time. When Early Head Start goes into the home, it's like a multi-generational approach because we can work with the child, but if the parent needs support too, what good are we if we're not helping them? And you have to be there for everybody.
Head Start's big thing is setting goals, and which was really nice because I'm not a goal setter.
when she was at home and when Kylie was at home and when the family was intact, just having our visits where we could focus on things that weren't about Kylie being sick and focus on goals for herself, because so much of her energy was spent down at the hospital focusing on that. There was so much more to her life than just Children's Hospital.
My biggest goal was to buy a house because we were living in an apartment. 3 kids in an apartment is a lot.
If she was going through a circumstance and I knew of something, or I could research to find out what was the best resource for her, whether it was, maybe she needed energy assistance that year.
I've received energy assistance a couple times, which allowed me to use that money that I would be using for my energy bill for paying off credit cards and paying off bills that allowed me to work on my goals.
She went from living in subsidized housing to making some tough decisions about spending and paying off bills and credit cards to being able to then work on her credit to move in to buy her own place.
I actually did end up buying a house, which I never would have been able to do if I didn't have Erica reminding me that I had a goal.
Both of us had to be there. She had to show up at the visits for her daughter and for her family, and I had to show up. And so being there and building that relationship and having trust and no judgment. We've all been in places, we're all just trying to do the best that we can.
She was my go-to person. She still is my go-to person. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. What I would say to Erica would be, first of all, thank you. First, putting up with me, for one, and staying on me about my goals and making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and reminding me that all parents make mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
You don't realize how you touch families or what difference you make until you see things or hear things like that. We're not in it for that reason, but to hear that just is like, I'm glad I chose to do what I did. I'm glad I chose to be in the field that I'm in, and just makes it worthwhile.
I wouldn't have the opportunity or the ability to help really anyone in the situation I was in 6 years ago. When I was given the opportunity to be on policy council, I kind of was hesitant at first because I didn't really have a voice at the time like I do now, until I was in policy council and realized that I could, that it was okay for me to have a voice again. I was on policy council for Head Start for 5. I did a year when Jaden was in Head Start, and then I did early Head Start when Kylie was with Erica. I was also part of the Minnesota Head Start Association board for a year and a half. There was an open position on the WCCA board, so I applied for that. It was really nice being able to be heard, because you don't always feel that. I got the taste of having a say and being part of something, and that probably plays a huge role in why I've gone from policy council in MHSA to now the board. My position on the WCCA board is the low income sector. There is a lot of programs through WCCA that I've used. I have a better understanding of how they work and the process, and being on the other side of the table, if I could talk to somebody like me, first of all, tell them that it can get better. When things get overwhelming, it can get really easy to fall into either giving up or being overwhelmed and not knowing what to do and not knowing who to turn to. We were in that situation, and getting out of it was hard. Getting to where we are was hard, and it was okay that it was hard.
Use the programs that are out there, because most of the times families only need them for a short time to get back on their feet, and that's what they're there for. Find those things so you can turn around and better yourself and possibly your family's life down the road.
I am different today because of WCCA. I went from being a single mom of 3 kids living at home with my mom and dad, not having a job, in an abusive relationship, to being a single mom that owns a house and has a full-time job. I am no longer in my abusive relationship, and I have done the work to move past that and get my girls past that. And it's because of WCCA that was possible.
Katie's amazing. She's real. She is passionate. She advocates for her children like nobody I've seen before. Her kids always come first.
The WCCA, all the people and mentors and programs that I've been able to access that have helped me get to where I am today, I appreciate everything. So thank you.